Sherry is an ex-Google customer-obsessed founder. In this workshop, you're going to see her messy way of thinking. It's very impressive, though, and I think she's figured out how to nail proactive AI. We talk about music, we talk about how to talk to customers, how to have a good relationship with them. I'm sure you're going to love this. And without much further delay, Founder Juice with Sherry. Okay, so you want to just dive right in?
Yeah, let's just
Because
go
of the
for
time.
it.
Let's just
Let's
dive
just do
right
it.
in.
Let's just do it. Let's just
Hell
do
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and you have 2 pieces of paper and something to draw with? Perfect.
I'm a terrible visual artist, but I think that's fine. We're gonna go with raw, authentic Sherry.
Yes. Anyways,
Yeah.
imagine your life at peak impact. I want you to draw your impact at that moment. Let's
All
look
right.
at
You're
it.
like, what is this?
No, it looks great.
Whoa, weird founder brain. Would you like an explanation?
Please.
When trying to answer this like open-ended question, right? I think about like my impact as, somebody who is able to take the power of something that is like cerebral or seemingly inaccessible but powerful, and finding a way to like spread it to like more and more people, right, around the world. But I put little hearts
Mhm.
because for me, I think even though I'm in a space that feels very logical and logically driven, everything I do is led with heart, right? Like, how do you do things that actually make a normal person's life better? So all of the work I've done in my life fits within this theme, right?
Mhm.
I've been very interested in understanding how investing and finances work, but a lot of people don't really understand because there's a lot of like technical terms, there's a lot of complexity when it comes to money management, but everyone has to do it, right?
Mhm.
And I'm all about not gatekeeping it, like making it really feel simple. Not like, hey, you're not somebody who can understand finance, therefore you need to go hire a financial advisor who can charge you a shitload of money and tell you that they need to depend on you, right? Same thing with tech. It's like, hey, there's so much you can do with AI,
Mhm.
but there's still this like fear of like, oh, I don't know if it's for me. I don't know if I'm technical enough or I can understand it. But everybody knows how to think. I think people are logical. People know how to solve problems. How do you make it so that it feels accessible? And so I see myself as that person who can speak who understands the, I guess the emotional or behavioral barriers of the everyday person in adopting tech.
Mhm.
But I also understand the tech itself, right? Because it
Mhm.
is my space, and I find a way to bridge the two.
I love it. Back to the image. So you're like on top because I like the spatial
Oh,
sometimes
this is the
meanings, you know?
brain. This is the brain.
Whose brain? Is it your brain or is it just
Oh, it's just like
the brain?
it's just the brain. It's like
Okay.
the collective like technical wisdom and knowledge, right? This is
Okay.
like, this is like understanding race conditions in coding, which I would have never
Mhm.
understood until like I started coding with AI. But
Mhm.
it's like there's a treasure trove of knowledge, right?
Yeah.
And that knowledge is power, which is why I have
Mhm.
lightning bolts. It's power.
Mhm.
But it's like before maybe the world is like, okay,
Mhm.
there's like a small niche of people that get
Mhm.
access to it and they're like up here, right? And I'm the air, maybe I'm the arrows. I'm the
Okay, you're the
arrows.
arrows. All right.
I'm the arrows, right? I'm like these guys,
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
know.
you're spreading. You're
I'm
extracting and
just
like
spreading.
spreading it. All
I'm
right.
extracting and spreading,
Hell
right?
yeah.
Like the Robin Hood of like gate kept knowledge.
Love it. Hell yeah.
Right?
So you're at that peak impact. Imagine you're like full power, spreading the super brain collective knowledge and making it accessible to the world.
Yes.
At that point in time, what opportunities do you want to attract? Like, what are the best opportunities for you?
I feel like I would be doing very much similar things to what I am doing now.
Mhm.
Um, but maybe at that point, hopefully everything goes well with the startups and stuff I'm working
Mhm.
on that like I can have more influence, right? You can obviously have a lot more influence when you're a successful founder with money
Mhm.
from the successes to make
Mhm.
influences and not, right? And so what can you do with that
Mhm.
that I couldn't do with? What could I do with that influence that I cannot do as well today, right?
Mhm.
Um, one is obviously capital allocation, right? Like
Mhm.
I can get very frustrated about the way startups are selected because it is just how capital allocation works under the VC model. And I can't do anything about it, right? Like that's just how things go. But if you become the capital allocator, then you can make those choices around, hey, maybe instead of like only allocating $1 million pre-seed or seed checks because now your fund size is getting too big because you made some good bets back in 2015 and you don't want to invest in smaller check sizes to good startups. I can be like, look, I'm happy to be the one to give 50K to 1 to 2 people teams for them to just build something out in 6 to 12 months, right? Like I've always been interested in that funding model, but again, if you're like a VC that has like, I don't know, like $1 billion in assets under management, like you're not doing 50K checks, right? But I think that's one way I could impact, which is like, how can I go beyond just like my own work, right? Like my own work as a builder, but like actually select people that I think also do impactful work, right? So you can multiply the impact you have. So becomes like, I'm not just like I kind of train more arrows. Yeah. We have like more arrows raining down, maybe.
But let's get specific, because the more vivid this image is, the more motivation you're gonna get.
I think number one is I am an operator at heart. So actually I would probably find a way to extend this or use what I currently do with like code with AI and just extend it, because I've gotten questions before where people are like, hey, you teach people how to code with AI. Some people actually are thinking about starting their own companies. Have you thought about having a fund, right? Like, have you thought about like beyond just teaching? It's like, now I get you the next step, right? And I mean, obviously I can't do everything all at once. And I do think that I cannot personally fund all this myself right now. So then you have to get people to be LPs, and then you need success stories. So anyways, I would love to be in a point where like, I can just be like, look, I have my money. I'm going to run these like accelerators where you go from 0 to 1 with learning technical skills, and then you just go build a company. I give you the money. So it's like, it's just like full kind of 0 to 1, right? Not just like give you the check. Because I actually think that's going to create more startups, right? Like I think that's the answer, because like it's not just money, and it's not just like you also have a better understanding what people are capable of if you've seen them operate, you've seen them go from like that early part of just learning how to build something.
Like an incubator, like a pre-accelerator.
Yeah, maybe it's a pre-accelerator. It's like, hey, you don't need to know anything about company building. Like I will just teach you everything, because also AI can make it so easy to learn all this. Like you can realistically learn how to build an app and make a TikTok video in a week, like literally. And I just want people to know that's possible.
And why is that so motivating for you? Like, I'm sorry, like to keep pushing,
but
like
it's okay.
It's so important to kind of get that locked in.
I'm somebody who doesn't like when the dynamics of the world lead to only a small selection of ideas seeing the light of day. And I think that's something that happens a lot in Silicon Valley, because, you know, I think the like narrative breeds upon narrative. Successes breed more successes. It's like, oh, like you see people building AI agents for legal tech, AI agents for like X boring industry. And by the way, I'm not saying these are not good companies, right? But then everybody else wants to build these companies because like you kind of like, it's like when Facebook overly does their like feed algo where like you look at like one cat photo and all of a sudden it thinks all you care about is cat photos. I love cats, so maybe that's partially true, but you get what I mean. It's like it's echo chambering and pigeonholing stuff. And I think that's what happens when there's a lot more at stake and there's a lot more information asymmetry. And what I mean by that is, if the money being allocated is much larger sizes, then there's fewer companies that can get funded. And if you're a VC that has not that much operating background, you're going to also go by what it has already worked, because you're better at pattern recognizing based on what has already been seen, not through using first principles to conceptualize or abstract what the future could be, right? Again, going with the whole thing about like everyone doing an AI agent for emails, right? Or whatever else, like it's assuming, okay, because these companies have been successful already, it got funding, then therefore I'm going to go build that. But a lot of times like that might not be the case. It's like, okay, but can you conceptualize what else is missing in the space, right?
Most of the time it's that, right? Like most of the time the success is the orthogonal idea, right?
So for example, like, what is orthogonal? Like I freaking love what the Notion guys did, right? Like nobody freaking understood what they were doing for the longest time. And I honestly didn't understand Notion until I used it maybe a couple of times. I started using it with my first co-founder insisted on using it. And I was
Mhm.
like, I have Google Docs. I don't understand this. But then I had a moment one day where I was like, it kind of clicked for me,
Mhm.
where I was like, oh, this is if your entire Google Docs space were programmatized, like much
Mhm.
more powerful and linked together in a
Yeah,
logical way,
interconnected. Yeah.
interconnected,
Mhm.
more collaborative and shareable and
Mhm.
alive. Because like a lot of Google Drive feels very like a relic of like a past form of
Mhm.
technology, but then just like had some additive elements. But people didn't really understand Notion. It was kind of this weird thing. And I mean, the founders really didn't make much money from the beginning,
Mhm.
but I love these ideas, right? And I think
Mhm.
because it's a bit wacky. It's a bit like people viscerally don't understand it initially,
Mhm.
but then they become these like defining things where now it's like I cannot live without Notion. Like it's just
Mhm.
like it's just so embedded in my workflow, right? And so how do more of these companies come into being? Well, you've got to allow capital to be able to take more smaller bets, right?
Mhm.
I play a lot of poker, so I tend to use a lot of poker
Mhm.
analogies, but imagine like every single time you played poker, like
Mhm.
pre-flop. You play poker
Yeah,
or
I understand
yeah, I
poker.
did.
Yeah,
Okay.
like yeah.
So like so there's the pre-flop bet, right?
Mhm.
Which you bet with only the two cards in front of you, right? So
Mhm.
like without any more information, like obviously pocket aces is great, but then sometimes like a low suited card, like a 5-4 of diamonds, could be a really
Mhm.
powerful hand, right?
Mhm.
It's small by itself, but then once if there's like a 6, 7, 8,
Mhm.
right, then you
Mhm.
just flop the
Yeah.
straight. So
Mhm.
the problem is like when you cannot make small bets, right?
Mhm.
50K, 25K, and like you're like, okay, it's either 1 million or nothing. It's basically like, oh, you could either put half of your stack of chips in the middle before you see the cards in the middle, or you don't bet at all. So of course, like how many cards are you going to play? You're going to be like, well, most of the time pocket aces works, right? But you're
Yeah,
not
so
going
you're
to be
just betting on pocket aces. Yeah.
exactly. And
Mhm.
here's a fun stat about things. Pocket aces, pocket kings are technically the strongest hands, but they probabilistically do not make the strongest hands. The strongest hands are usually the underdog suited connectors
Mhm.
because they can make flushes, they can make
Mhm.
straights, they can make all of these hands, right? But
Mhm.
by themselves, they're not that impressive. But you play them if the bet before you see the cards is smaller, right?
Mhm.
So imagine all those bets we are not making just because of the dynamics of the funding market, right?
Mhm.
So I cannot change this right now because I am not in a place where I can change the rules of the game, right? The
Mhm.
rules of the game can be changed when you have resources. When I have resources, right, like an exit or whatever, then I can change the rules of the game in a way that allows for more notions to come in the world, like more wacky consumer ideas that really help the everyday person, not just like the fifth email agent that somebody talks about. Yeah, that's just how I
No,
feel,
it's a
right?
great idea. Like, just to recap and like crystallize it.
Yeah.
So you got like an image. It's like almost like this like pre-flop fund or like
Yeah,
an
yeah, pre-flop
orthogonal
fund.
idea fund.
Yeah, for
Where like you
orthogonal.
can
Yeah,
you can use your
and
leverage that
yeah,
from your success plus your resources from your success to kind of
yeah,
empower these orthogonal thinkers.
yeah.
Like, were you like that?
Um,
Like, do you define yourself as someone who's like kind of black sheep of Silicon Valley thinking, but you're in it and now you're like gaining momentum and you're like, hell yeah.
yeah.
Like do you identify like that or
Um, I guess in a way I do. And not because I'm like, oh, everyone else is doing this, therefore I need to do something different, right? Like I am super happy to be a basic person if I think the taste aligns with me, right? Like I like Lady Gaga, not
Mhm,
because she's popular, but because
mhm,
like she's a very, very good mezzo soprano, and
mhm,
I'm a singer from before,
mhm,
and I love her style, right? But I'm not gonna be like, oh, everyone likes Lady Gaga, therefore like
mhm,
fuck it.
mhm,
It just so happens that the things I like is just not popular Silicon Valley lore at the moment, right? I
mhm,
love consumer. I've always loved consumer. I've
mhm,
only really worked on consumer. Like even back
mhm,
at Google, I was like,
mhm,
we had like such a weird take on building a consumer fintech app in India because back
mhm,
then, I mean, most finance apps are very industrial, very functional, and like there's this like perception that like, oh, if you make it fun and unserious, like people won't trust it or people think
mhm,
it's not gonna work. Well, but
mhm,
guess what? Scratch cards, animations, like
mhm,
mascots, games, like all that stuff. When I was working on that in India for Google Pay, allowed us to grow like twice as fast with like a tenth of the marketing budget compared to competitors, just because we tapped on like a deep human emotion, which is the way to help people feel like they can trust something is when they are taken seriously and not shamed as a customer. And when you recognize that all of us just want to feel like, you know, a surface is there for us and makes us feel comfortable and has a bit of that fun and non-intimidating element, it actually helps people overcome those barriers, right? So that was a contrarian bet back then, right? I mean, nobody was doing that in India. I don't think many people were doing that in other markets, but like, I think that was my early taste of how you can be a little weird with stuff and it works. Like we built like collectible games. Like there was a game that was like a cricket game, because everyone loves cricket in India. But basically, if you did a certain number of transactions, it was like you were scoring like certain amounts. Like, oh, you can go and score a 6, or I had to learn some cricket rules when designing the game. But yeah, I think I don't know, maybe I just see things that maybe not everyone sees. It could also be that I'm like, you know, pretty ADHD and I allow my brain to go in weird places that most people just don't let it go. But I don't do it for the sake of it. I do it when I feel like I've caught onto some kind of unseen truth that the world may have not caught onto or known yet. And I feel like I do not stop until like I can bring that out in some kind of way. So yeah, to answer your question, like, I guess I would consider myself maybe a bit of a black sheep just because like consumer is just not hot. I mean, I was at the OpenAI founder day and oh, it was hilarious. I hope I'm not rambling too much, but
no. Keep it. You know, I can go for as long as you want. So if you have time, I have time.
Yeah, I have a little bit. I will have to, you know, go to bed at some point because it's late. So we had so Brad Lightcap, right? He's the CEO. He was there and he was taking questions from the audience. And I noticed that like literally nobody else was like, I do a consumer, like I enterprise infra, like, oh, like AI for fraud detection, whatever. I raised my hand and like, you know, I have some questions about generative UI, like how should interfaces change because of AI? And then I describe what I am doing as a company. I'm like, I'm probably the only consumer company here. We're building a TikTok and Duolingo meets personal finance for Gen Z. And like, the guys' faces were like the whole room kind of laughs, and I think the laughter wasn't like, oh, that's a stupid idea, but they were just like, it was just so out there. And then like afterwards, like those guys wanted to come talk to me because they're like, I'm just curious. Like I don't know exactly what that even looks like, but I'm just curious. And I'm like, that's insane that like I'm in a room of what is supposed to be like, you know, the AI founders of Singapore. I'm the only one building in consumer. And then I'm talking to these guys who are like one of the companies who should have seen so many startups, right? These are startup people at OpenAI, COO, right? And like, they haven't seen stuff like this. So I'm like, I'm not trying to be different, but I'm just like, I guess I am just doing what I think the space needs. And if there are not that many people doing it, like, screw it, I'll still do it because I care about the customers. I care about building something that I think is meaningful.
Hell yeah. Love it. What is your proudest moment?
I have to say, like, I'm pretty proud that after 4 years of building startups, I'm still in the game, because I think it's like a 20% survival rate, something like that. Like even YC companies, right? Like it's not like, I think most companies don't survive past 2, like YC companies, right? You have all the ability to raise money, right? And I am proud of myself for just staying in the game, because there's so many times where like you could definitely quit and nobody would fault you for it. But I just have had like complete unfounded conviction in myself, right? It's like you don't even you can't even process evidence to convince yourself if you are the right person to do something. You're almost like, you know what, I do not care what the evidence says. I will live the day to day to be that person versus trying to analyze whether or not I'm already that person. And so I guess I am proud of sticking it through, because I'm sure it's not that easy.
Of course not. No, it's so you started Peak 4 years ago.
So I started building startups 4 years ago.
Hmm.
I have pivoted 3, 4 times,
Hmm.
depending on how you define a pivot. Two of them were completely different products. The third one was a version of Peak that is not Peak today.
Hmm.
So if I ever say things to people that I think chat AI is not the final boss of like interfaces for AI, like so many products are just like, oh, here's a traditional UI with chat slapped on top of it. And unfortunately, I did say that at OpenAI, and I think I don't know if I offended anyone, but it's just my perspective because it is chat, right?
Yeah.
That's why I had these strong views, because like we did that for 9 months and we realized like this is not revolutionary, right?
Mhm.
So the Peak today was like the app that's out. We started working on it beginning of this year. Peak in beta, which was the dashboard plus GPT wrapper kind of feeling. We worked on it last year, so
Okay.
um, it's not like ever really clean. Like how
It's never,
long?
yeah, like there's
Yeah, it's
micro
kind of
pivots
like a
every day, right?
micro pivots. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I mean, even the last 2 days, we're like rewriting our front end.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, that's
I
not a
feel it.
pivot. It's just more like,
But what drives that
yeah,
conviction when you hit that wall, right? You're like,
yeah,
God damn it, I think I'm just building a chat wrapper. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Let me just go back and get a job. Like, what makes you say no? I'm at this point. I'm at the chat wrapper point.
yeah.
There is a vision beyond once you reach here. Like, what
Oh,
drives that?
I just have so much fun doing this.
Okay.
Like, I don't think I'm like a genius or like
Mhm.
different or whatever, but I think I'm not afraid to go places where most people are afraid to go to. And I have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
So if you're able to like derive fulfillment and dopamine from that, then it becomes a lot easier, right? I think my fear of looking stupid in front of people is probably far less than a lot of people, right? Like
Yeah.
if no
Yeah.
people's like level is like a tolerance of 3, I'm probably like a tolerance of 9. Like I just don't give a shit. I'm just like, yeah, why not? I'm just gonna swing for it. Perhaps at different points in my life, I've been like sort of rewarded for it, so maybe that creates that as well. Where like I've taken bets and like people thought it was weird, and then it turns out it was right, and then I'm
Mhm.
like, cool. I feel great about it.
Yeah.
So
You're enjoying the process. You're
I,
like,
I love
you
the
don't
process.
even, yeah.
It's very exactly,
Mhm.
and like it's fun. Like I really love it. Like I enjoy it. Like I feel like if I got zero money from it and I was just doing this as like a researcher, like I freaking love this stuff. I just love it. So that's why.
I
Not
love
not
it.
not any genius. It's just the passion.
Side note, we don't have to go into this
Yeah,
super
it's okay.
strong, but is the research, because I hear a lot about like the researcher mentality in Google.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah, yeah,
something you learned from Google? Like, just to be like
yeah.
curious and like explore and
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I am so glad I worked at Google, right? Like I think some people have this whole like, oh, like, just go work at just do a start straight out of college. Like don't waste your time in big tech. Everyone is different. I feel like I learned a lot of like very user-led product strategies and ways of thinking being at Google. And I was very fortunate to work under this guy named Josh Woodward, who's now actually VP of Google Labs. So he like runs Gemini and all of that.
Mhm.
Like I got to work really closely with this guy,
Yeah.
which I'm so grateful for. And he used to say something that like I really held, closely. He was like, know your users like your brothers and sisters, or like know them deeply. I don't want to just know how they use the app. Like, what are they thinking when they wake up? Like, what are they worried about? Like, what's their commute to work? Like,
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, like, not just a little sort of stalker territory,
Mhm.
right? But like
Mhm.
really get deep in the psyche of that person and care about them,
Mhm.
right? And that's always how I've operated, right? Like I don't see users as this like number on a chart. It's just like, who is this person? Like I just want to get to know them. And like, is there something that like I can do to like help solve their problem in some way with what I'm building?
Mhm.
So yeah, I do think that like as you said, like that curiosity led
Mhm.
thing where like you just never end up stopping. The questions of understanding someone never stops,
Mhm.
right? So
It's a good way.
yeah, like I'm the same way. Like I remember I tweeted this once, where I was like, you better be talking to at least 5 customers a day. And
Mhm.
I think I got like, it was apparently controversial. And I was like, I'm not like calling them every
Yeah.
for 5 of them. It's like I'm
Yeah.
talking to at least
Yeah.
5, right? It's like a text
Mhm.
or like something inner tickets. Or, I don't know, right? But the fact that some people thought that that was crazy was actually absurd to me. And I'm like, what are you doing if you're not
Yeah,
fucking serious?
exactly.
Right? And
100%.
exactly. So yeah, I think there is a big part of it that I think is
Oh,
influenced from that.
that's great. Yeah, I'm so surprised when when I tell people, "Hey, you need to be on phone calls, not pitching, just
Just get to
talking
know
and
them.
saying, hey, how do you
Yeah.
use X or how do you just
Yeah.
learning from being in a relationship, being in dialogue, and it's so hard for them. And I'm like, bro, like just
Yeah,
get a job. Like this
it
is
is.
this is what you need
Like,
to do as a founder.
yeah, there's have you heard of this music producer called Benny Blanco?
Yeah, I know Benny Blanco.
Okay, great. This reference hopefully then works. I love Benny Blanco
Mm-hmm,
because I'm a big music
mm-hmm,
person. I DJ, I sang
mm-hmm,
before. It's like just something I love.
mm-hmm,
Um, so Benny Blanco has this like really amazing way of working with artists. He's a producer, so obviously you make money when you get an artist to agree to do a song with you, right?
mm-hmm,
But what he does is he gets to know who they are before they come to actually his house. So the
mm-hmm,
studio is in his house, not just like this industrial building. It's
mm-hmm,
home, it's cozy. So like he'll do things like, you know, ask them like their favorite food or whatever. If someone is like, oh, grandma's pot pie is like
mm-hmm,
my favorite thing. So what he will do is when the artist gets to his home, he
mm-hmm.
will actually have like some version of grandma's
Yeah,
pot
he'd
pie
call
made for
grandma, be like, what's the recipe?
yeah.
Like,
So, yeah, no, like something like that, right? And then he tells me, he's like, look, we're just gonna chill. We're gonna chat, we're gonna jam. And you know what? If we walk away with a song, great. If we walk away without a song, that's also fine.
perfect.
I'm just here to just like make this space be a creative,
Mm-hmm.
safe space for you, and we'll see if anything comes out of it. And like it's just I love it, right? Because there's no pressure. Like there's not this like, oh, like I need to like I feel like I'm getting pitched. Like this guy's trying to like
Mm-hmm.
sell me something. Like I have to make a song.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out like he's a very productive producer because people just like working with him and it comes from a very genuine place, right? And like that's how I approach or I try to approach like how I build things as well, where I straight up have had calls with I mean, this has happened before in the past, where I've been on calls with users
Mm-hmm.
or potential users, right? And I think maybe partway through, I can kind of tell like this might not be really a fit for them,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I kind of just tell them like, hey, look, I can see that this is you're looking for something to track investments, and
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to figure out like how to like optimize your 401k, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, I'm not sure if our product actually meets those
Mm-hmm.
needs, but you should check out these other products. And they look at me like I'm a crazy person for even
Mm-hmm.
doing that because I'm like, they're like, why are you even saying this? But I'm like, look, I want to make sure that you are successful coming out of this conversation, no matter what the outcome is. We scheduled this meeting or this talk because we hypothesize that peak or my solution could be the answer. But if it's not the answer, I'm not going to try to sell you to use it, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to be like, look, maybe you want these kind of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like in some funny way, actually, it's very disarming where all of a sudden they're like, oh, maybe I can check out your product, see if it works. I'm like, you can, but I also just want to, manage expectations.
Yeah, yeah.
So
No, it's
it's
such
very
a
interesting.
masterful. I'm glad you said that because people need to hear it. But it is the way. Like you can't be prospecting and like you need to prospect as an advisor, exactly the way
Yeah.
you're doing,
Yeah.
and you're just talking, learning, almost like a consultant. Like
Yeah.
you're like, hey, let me design the best solution for you, and if it is our product, great. And if not, let me point you to the better product. And what that does is also increases your competitive awareness too. Because you're like,
Yeah.
hey, maybe, 6 months later, you know what? There's a fun way I can include this guy's needs in the product. And now you have a relationship. You can be like, hey, by the way, you remember when you asked about XYZ? We added that. You want to check it
Yeah.
out? You know, does it meet your needs? Does what's missing? And now you still have that contact to talk to again for
Yeah.
research. So
Yeah.
100%. I love this Benny Blanco example.
Yeah.
You know,
I
it's,
I
it's
when
such
I
a good example.
when I heard him, like, I mean, he has great YouTube videos,
Yeah.
just talking through his process, right? Of
Mhm.
course, the process of making music includes like how do you get to know artists,
Mhm.
right? And I was just like, this guy and
Yeah.
I think the same way, and I love it. It's just like it's a very different than like the very like Trumpy art of the deal, like,
Mhm.
you know, I'm gonna come in and negotiate, think about Batman. Like, that's just not my style. Like,
Mhm.
not to say that that's a bad thing. Like, I think some people are really good at it. I'm just like, that's just not my style, right? Like, I'm kind of like,
100%.
I'm
Yeah.
more of a attract the right kind of customer or people in your circle than like chase, right? That's just like always been my MO, I
Yeah, and
guess.
it takes work too. Like the Benny Blanco thing, like it sounds nonchalant and easy, but he's actively getting to know people,
Yeah, yeah,
creating the space,
yeah,
putting in the energy to facilitate all of that. So it is it is active. It looks passive, but it is very active process.
yeah, yeah,
And something you can get better at
yeah.
with practice.
And you know what? He does it because he enjoys it. Like
Exactly.
he just
Yeah.
likes being around people. He likes the creative process. So it's not like, oh
Mhm.
my gosh, it must be so difficult for him to do it. I mean, again, it is a lot of
Mhm.
thought and intention put in deliberate
Mhm.
thought that is put behind it, but it comes from a place of just like, I'm genuine about it. So it
Uh,
works for him.
what's your story?
I think there was a narrative for female founders for a while that you have a certain way you present yourself.
Mhm.
I'm in Asia, so I think there's a
Mhm.
bit more of these narratives where like
Mhm.
you have to look a certain way, to be polished, you have to be
Mhm.
elegant, and you don't swear in public and all that. And like I think when you're new, you're kind of like, oh, maybe I need to be that way. But I think at some point I'm like, you know what? Like I'm a little unhinged. I'm a very casual person. I will wear t-shirts and shorts and have a
Mhm.
visible tattoo at a networking event with very boring old industry people, and I won't
Mhm.
care. And I've just kind of leaned into it. Right. So
Mhm.
in a way, it's like I'm just unapologetically myself. And it's not to say that I think everyone else should do that. Right. It's just this is who I am. If you're somebody who wants to wear pink flowers and cute attire and high heels and go talk to like, you know,
Mhm.
uh, semiconductor clients and
Mhm.
that's fine by you, you go do that too. Like just be
Mhm.
unapologetically yourself, right?
Mhm.
And that's something I value, and that's
Mhm.
something that I try to help the people around me realize as well.
Mhm.
Um, that's one value. I think the other one that I value um, is boldness, and this relates to being just
Mhm.
unapologetically self. And why is that important? Why is being yourself
But there's the
important?
exaggeration part and boldness that I do like. That where it's like, because it might be a little aside, but I don't know if it resonates with you.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I'm very left side, so yeah,
uh,
left field. Yeah,
yeah, because I feel like a lot of times when we're presenting a brand, right, or we're creating
yeah.
a following or influence or all of that, we kind of say, I just want to be who I am. And
Hmm.
who I am has been won in extremes, right?
Yeah.
Like in extreme situation, extreme hardship. I've learned to be this way, right? But me being nonchalant in the messaging around me will not break through and like wake people up, you know. So the
Mm,
boldness is kind of the extra expression, like it's kind of like the amplification layer that
yeah.
drives it home. But I don't know if that resonates with you, but it's kind of an idea that's been resonating with me lately. So
Yeah. Like
yeah.
you see yourself as a more chill and nonchalant person, but you feel like
Mhm.
you have to be a bit more out there or like loud
Just
in a
no, just
way.
whoever I am, just amplified a little bit.
Ah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Okay. I think
It's
that
kind of
is
a
a
principle of animation. Like if you've
yeah,
studied
yeah.
the principle of animations,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's like 12 principles, and one of them
Yeah.
is exaggeration. And the
Yeah, yeah.
exaggeration adds that
Ah, yeah,
element of
yeah.
life to it, you know? Is that
I
what you
think
mean by boldness? Like to bring it back to what you were saying, you're like
yeah,
boldness, because you
yeah.
said be unapologetically yourself, check.
Yeah, yeah. It
But
was
then you layered
yeah,
on top of it boldness, and I was like, interesting
yeah.
that you see those two things as separate things. So that's why I was like,
Oh, I mean, it was actually not what I originally was
yeah.
thinking, but actually what we all talked about makes
Mhm.
made sense as well.
Mhm.
Um, I was actually more saying that being unapologetically yourself or discovering who you are to even be unapologetic for
Mhm.
requires you to take risks, right? Because what
Mm.
is the easiest thing to do?
Mhm.
The easiest thing to do is to parrot what everybody around you does, right? Like that
Mhm.
is like the least socially risky thing to do is to like, okay, by this age, you should buy a house. By this age, you should do this. Oh, most normal adults have a stable job. Okay, I do that. Oh, when you're, after the age of 35, like being a DJ is no longer age appropriate. You got to go play golf. These are real examples I'm using from people around me, right? They're like, oh,
I resonate with them. Yeah.
I'm supposed to be playing golf now. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Who says, I don't know about this should or supposed to, that word is not in my vocabulary, but boldness for like you kind of basically discovering and then maybe presenting those exaggerated parts of you that are truly you requires you to be bold because it like makes people uncomfortable sometimes, right? I mean, I do this a lot on like anytime I'm invited on a panel to speak about anything like running a company, being a female founder, whatever. I make sure to like say at least one kind of polarizing or controversial thing. And again, I'm not trying to be like controversial to be controversial, but more just like I do not like this like circle jerk, go up there, talk, pontificate, thought leadership stuff. Like I do not like it, right? So one of the things that I've been talking a lot about because I have this panel I'm going to speak on Saturday with it's kind of like the women in tech kind of events, right? And one of the things I value, right? I mean, just related to that, like being unapologetically yourself is I think that whenever we have some perceived inequality in the world of some source, right? Like maybe there's not enough females who are founders, not females in tech. I truly believe that it's less about like, we need to always create a separate space for marginalized groups and have special resources. It's more about making everybody feel safe in a certain space, including maybe women in this case, to enter that space. And I'll give an example. I mean, I was saying all of this on a call preparing for this panel with these other women who were probably looking at me like, what is she like saying something kind of out there? But with what we've been doing with our coding class, right? Code with AI, one of the things that I was really surprised by pleasantly is the fact that more than 50% of the people who show up to a coding class are women. And this class was never advertised as oh, this is a women in tech, or, we're separating this female focus, whatever. It was never done that way, right? And I had to like ask myself this question of like, what is it about the way that we do these classes that a lot of women show up, right? And I talked with my partner that does it with me, and I think our conclusion was women were never less technical than men. Like and there were, I don't really think deep down there are fewer women who are interested in technical things. It's just that there's a lot of socialization that happens where people feel worried about being messy and making mistakes and not being perfect and elegant and all that stuff. And guess what? Learning how to code is fucking messy, right? You're gonna have bugs, shit doesn't work, you're gonna feel dumb, and it's really like not that pleasant when you start out, right? But I think I've been really public about my own journey and like post about it again unapologetically, and maybe it's because I've given I've helped maybe some of these women who've come to the class feel like they have the permission to make mistakes, and try things out, and it's really cool to see, right? I mean,
I love it. It's such a good self-awareness to say that, I am like the avatar of a messy founder.
Yeah, exactly, messy.
And you're like, hell yeah, come join the club. And and just that alone created kind of this or expanded an exclusive environment to become more inclusive.
Exactly, right. And again, it was none of this like, oh, like, and I do not want to criticize women who do like women focused events. Like that's what I'm saying. But sometimes I feel this like dissonance where I feel like when you create these separate spaces and say like, oh, women need to be only around other women and need these special help because they're not as technical, it just creates that narrative. And I'm like, look, the initiatives that I have done that have no gender quota like goal or whatever, you just like, I just got to the root of what the problem is, right? They're afraid to be messy.
It's really cool. It's very cool to do that. Yeah. It's so rare that someone has the boldness to do that.
It is boldness, and then to tell a bunch of women why, like, these women-focused things are like kind of part of the problem. Like, I mean, like essentially I said
it's
that to them, and they were
it's a
like,
great read.
you got a point, but it is also like it's a bit of a wake-up call to kind of like let that marinate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Who are you serving?
Yes. So right now we're serving for peak people who are first jobbers, Gen Zs living in the US who have money anxiety, which has been kind of I would say, a endemic and kind of generational challenge, to no fault of their own, but it's just how things have really been with, you know, inflation, more job instability,
Oh yeah, yeah,
etc. Yeah,
systematic, the whole thing.
yeah, the whole thing.
Okay,
Yeah,
first job was because I just want to get through, so you
yeah,
can get the full experience. Like I understand it. Okay,
yeah,
so first job was Gen Z money anxiety. I like that.
yes, yeah,
Um, to kind of get that, what is the extreme version of that? Like if you know Oxa Good Groups, right?
yeah,
The founder made kitchen utensils for his wife who had arthritis, but like
yeah, yeah,
everybody loves Oxa Good Groups, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So if you're gonna think of disease is kind of the crude way of putting it,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
what is like the diseased version of your
Oh yeah.
target that
I mean,
or
the
the
entire
extreme?
yeah, I would say like the entire generation has ADHD. Like,
Yeah,
and I have it too. So like I
yeah,
totally get it, right? So the extreme version is like just accept that the best way to help Gen Z's consumer information is through brain rot. It's
hmm
through scrollable things that are like that hook you, that get a payoff, that reward you quick, and you move on. And it's just the scaffolding of it is super simple and easy to understand. And I guess it wasn't an extreme enough description of my product, because when I said, again, like TikTok and Duolingo for finance, like I got laughed at by the CEO of OpenAI. So
that's the next question. Let's
right?
stick to the
It's like,
customer, and we're
yeah,
gonna get into it because like I like
yeah,
this ADHD
yeah,
approach,
yeah,
and it's like so their problem is just like the attention is
attention,
everywhere,
yeah,
and how does that relate to their money habits? Like what
yeah,
what
yeah,
what is the ADHD version
yeah,
of
yeah.
money thinking?
Yeah, well, the problem is it's usually about the intention and action gap, meaning
hmm
I want to be good with my money. I want to save. I want to, but I don't, and I spend everything, right? So what happens here? What's
hmm
broken? So a lot of times what happens is people plan to be good about their money. And that's
hmm
why you like see all these like Notion templates,
hmm
Excel templates that
hmm
people download like at the beginning of the year, like New Year's, like, oh, I'm going to reset this year. I'm going to build a plan. And they get that dopamine of like,
hmm
I'm putting together a plan. But the problem is like, okay, now you have the plan, but like the follow through is very difficult. And
hmm
as somebody who has ADHD like me, I know that like I basically am fighting against my own neurochemistry when it comes to translating the idea of something, the plan, right, into like actual steps. Like, what is it? How many times a day, or what you should even do when managing a budget? Like, what does cutting $200 of food mean, right? It just
hmm
becomes so overwhelming. There's so many layers of like processing. It's actually very complex. And then it's like I
Yeah.
have 10 things that I'm thinking about. Like, should I be thinking about my food budget today?
Yeah.
How should I be thinking about oh, like I tried to save on this. Why am I not saving on it? It's like
Mhm.
it's actually like a very attention and cognitively demanding sequence of tasks that you constantly have to engage in to actually have good habits. And that's why when you look at like the people in our user base that actually are good at doing this, they're usually probably the other extreme where they're just extra OCD and discipline, where like they can do these mechanical things, right, and follow
Mhm.
through. But 98% of people don't act that way. And most of them, I'd say, like it's more just like a I don't enjoy it. And then you have the people like me who with ADHD, it's like I literally just almost can't do it unless there was a hack, right? So
Yeah, so this is like the next
yeah,
question, which is what is the offer? Like pitch peak for this
yeah,
kind of customer.
yeah. So for peak, it's we just take the thinking away from you, right? Our app is basically a what I call a mono feed, right? It's just like
Mhm,
a singular feed. There's no like toggles, configurations, and tabs.
mhm,
And we just present to you a daily ritual every single
Mhm.
day of swipeable cards that are alive, right? We'll tell you,
Mhm.
we'll have like little alerts or like, hey, you know what, this week you've kind of spent 2x more on taking an Uber. Like, this is just a flag, just, you know, what did you
Mhm.
do, right? And that's the thing to look at. Maybe the next one is we found quizzing people about their money and improving recall helps them build better awareness than just presenting them information. So maybe we'll do a quiz of like, how much do you think you spent? And it becomes this game, right? Because all of a sudden you're invested. And if you're wrong, you're also like, whoa, like I'm wrong on
No way, I
anything.
spent this much money. No way. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love this
And then
idea.
AI can also predict,
Mm.
like, our AI can also guess like why you might be off, because we also um, have more information about when people have guessed wrong, what the gaps
Mm.
usually are, so we could present the perceptual gaps back to people,
Hell yeah,
right?
because you got like anonymized data that is like feeding kind of
Correct.
like an
Yeah.
intelligence thing.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
exactly. So it's like we don't just have this transaction engine. We have an entire like behavior engine, right? But what we do is we take all the thinking away. Like all the times you had to be like, there's maybe like 10 micro decisions I have to make about my money every single day. Like we take that away from you. So all you have to do is say next or
Yeah.
yes or so I think the way I see it is like in the past with most apps, right?
Mhm.
Let's say this is like human and
Mhm.
this is machine. It's
Yeah.
like a human has to do this much work to meet the machine to get this
Mhm.
much leverage, right?
Mhm.
Maybe this is leverage.
Mhm.
Our imagination, I'm very visual, so I'm just trying to
Mhm.
describe it. It's like human effort is this.
Mhm.
Machine tries to meet human by understanding
Mhm.
how human systems work, not humans
Mhm.
understanding machine systems and toggles and
Yeah.
whatever. And we want that leverage to be this. So it's
Hell
like
yeah.
less effort and 10x leverage. If it's like 10x less effort for 10x more leverage, right? And that so it's this simplicity to the user where they do not need to look at complex dashboards. They don't need to be like, oh, I don't know how to look at Sankey charts and analyze. Is this okay? It's like we'll
Mhm.
just tell you. And in a way, it does make our jobs harder because we become like almost like mind readers in a way. It's like we kind of have to
So
figure
cool
out,
though, like this,
right?
like let alone just the financial level, just this ritual that you created is such a cool paradigm where it's like, hey, it's a feed, it's swipeable,
Yeah,
you hit it once a day and you're good.
yeah.
You know,
Once
and
a
and
day,
and it
less
gives you
than 5 minutes.
yeah, and it gives you like financial leverage.
Yep.
Uh amazing, amazing
Like
uh
it's kind of like
paradigm.
all you have to do to be like, hey, I feel secure and in control of my money and know what's going on, and maybe even saved a little bit, is
Mhm.
5 minutes a day, open the app, do some interactions, and that's all you need to do. And to be honest, with any habit, if someone told me it's just 5 minutes a day, I'll be like, yeah, like I definitely have 5 minutes of downtime. I'm like
Mhm.
walking on the bus or whatever. Like I have that time, and that time used to be doom scrolling, right? Maybe you're doing it on a social platform for that dopamine. We don't try to tell people they need to do more homework. We're like, look, you already have that downtime seeking dopamine. We're just going to replace that habit. We're going to supplement that habit, right? With something that is
Mhm.
better for you in a way than just pure like social media scrolling.
I'm just trying to remember your feel and control your money without spreadsheets or shame. Come on. You have full financial leverage in 5 minutes a day. It's a way better headline.
Yeah,
'Cause
we are working on our website.
yeah,
Yeah,
because I
we
remember it was something like it wasn't this lucid. Like your pitch right now is so lucid that it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna
yeah,
let it sit for its amazingness and move on just for the time. But it's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
cool. It's so
No,
cool.
I'm gonna write that down because it's helpful to know what I say, like what things I say that like
Yeah,
stick
that
out.
resonate because it's like no brainer. You know, like it's such a big
Yeah,
promise. This like full control. Even you say full control of your money in less than 5 minutes a day.
yeah.
Damn, really, really good. Do you remember your first sale? Like that was to complete stranger
With
with Peak.
this version of Peak or any version of Peak.
The first
This,
time, yeah, you were like new,
ah,
completely cold.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, we didn't really know who our users were. Like when they first started downloading, not initially, right? I had to like send an intercom message and be like, "Hey, Sherry, the founder, like, book. Here's my Calendly and book time." Right? I love doing that way more than like fill out a survey because people don't want to do that, but they're happy to talk. And actually, the first person who responded was this guy named Brian. And it was so interesting because like you have this idea of like who you think the user is in your head, and you're just like, I hope I'm just not completely off about it, right? Like you're just like, it's okay to be off, but you're also like, and then this guy joins and he's got like the quintessential Gen Z mop hair, you know, like and he's like, yeah, I'm 23, I live in Arizona, and you know what, like I was looking for an app like this that like had the personalization and personality of ChatGPT, but I wanted it for my money. And he was like, I tried Rocket Money and these other apps, and they felt baroque. That was the word he used. I was like, that's a great word. He's like, it felt like it was from a different era, and I don't know why I'm using it. And I was like, okay, I'm glad I wasn't completely off about my assessment of the psychographics of my users. And yeah, so that was the first time, and it was really, really cool to like, it was almost like I don't know, like the first time I like met my co-founder, and like we talked about how much we cared about building tech that included more people. Like I felt like it was like oh yeah, like you think this way, I already think this way. And I felt like with the user, it was just like, I didn't want to tell him I thought about all the ideas that he was saying back at me, but I totally did. But it was like, it was good validation that like, I wasn't completely off about my understanding of our users. So yeah, that was pretty awesome. I don't think you ever forget the first real conversation you have with the user. It feels real. You're like, okay, someone's actually using this, and someone's like, it's like, yo, your app is dope, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's I feel so great.
I love it. And how did Brian find your app?
Yeah, he found us on Twitter actually. So
Okay.
we did have some initial success actually on Twitter for marketing, because we like had a period where like, you know, there was a viral tweet that we respond. I think that's probably when you and I connected as well. It was like April, and then we had like a good run on Product Hunt. So he was part of like, I call it the Twitter early adopters. And yeah, that's how I met this Brian guy.
I love it. Okay. Moving on, we can hit a lot of these with, okay, what are the quality factors? You know, why should like what do users see and say like,
Yeah,
hell yeah, this is amazing? You know, if
yeah,
you want to think about like what's a 4-star experience?
yeah. Um, the users feel like Peak makes them feel psychologically safe about money. And this is something I realized too, where like I think a lot of money apps try to say, oh, we help you save money, oh, we help you make more money. Our users tell us that they like how Peak makes them feel good about money. And when people feel good about money and are more comfortable looking at their balances, figuring out what to do, they become better with their money and ultimately save more and all of that, right? But that's been the single biggest thing, is Peak doesn't shame me. Peak doesn't make me feel stupid.
Yeah, I love that. And you know, what in the app does that? Like, if you
Yeah,
know, what are they judging that by? Like, when is the
yeah,
moment in the app that makes them say, hell yeah, this thing gets me?
yeah. I think there's like numerous things that we do to inject that personality throughout, but immediately you do not actually think our app looks like a finance app when you download it. I mean, it looks like Duolingo or Headspace or like some gaming app, right? Like it's colorful, it's got quirky language, I think it's kind of funny, and it's got this like orange blob mascot, right? So like from the get-go, you're like, okay, this thing has a little bit of personality, right? And then the other thing that we do is we don't try to treat anything that we tell the person as advice. We do something what we call mirroring, which is if you just help people understand themselves better, they can figure out what they want to do with that information. So I'll give you an example of mirroring, right? Like, let's say like someone just spent a lot of money on flights and traveling over the summer, and like obviously we're gonna know that, right? Instead of being like, oh, you know, your spending has like gone up 40% these months, we're just like, look, you look like you've been like a European travel aficionado over the summer. Here's what your summer looked like. And we kind of play it like a Spotify Wrapped, right? And then you know, you kind of see, oh, like this is what happened. And I actually think sometimes when you have a very non-threatening way of like looking at what's happened, it either allows you to validate your decisions of like, okay, yeah, like I do prioritize and want to do these things, and that's fine, right? Like maybe I do want to spend like concert tickets because I love music. But then other times you see it, you're just like, okay, like maybe I don't want things to be quite this way. But the user's kind of reflecting themselves, right? They're not like having something judge them like a mom, like, hey, you shouldn't be spending this money.
It's great.
We just do
It's very
mirroring.
Zen Buddhist in a way, where it's like just
Yeah,
bring
it
the
is.
attention to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
action, and everything will resolve itself, kind of.
I never really thought of the app as Zen Buddhist, but actually now that you say it that way, I think that is true. It's like we believe in again, meditation, a lot of these like mental wellness kind of apps are the same way. It's like, let me just bring attention to you to these things in a non-threatening way. Therefore, you're able to kind of process them in an objective way, right? Instead of tying emotion to it, like, oh, like I'm such a spender, or like, oh, I don't have this in control. You're just like, hey, these are the things that happened. Just letting you know, this is your story. And that's why we call some of our elements of like, we don't have dashboards, but when we present numbers, we call them stories, right? Because they're narratives about you that we were able to see. And then you can decide, does this reflect your authentic self unapologetically, right?
It's so great. Yeah. Describe the most genius artist.
The most genius artist. Oh, wow. Like music artist, visual artist,
Whatever
or
that means to you.
anything.
Whatever that
Yeah,
means to you. It can be fictional, not, it can be
yeah,
real,
yeah.
ideal, whatever it is, whatever most genius artist means to
Um, I'm thinking. Well, I don't know. I think the first person that came to my mind was actually Lady Gaga, which is kind of funny because maybe we talked about her like earlier. But I I think I admire her a lot as a musician because she doesn't pigeonhole herself into a genre. I mean, she's done theater, she's done opera, she's done electro pop, she's done country. Like, I think that's something that is very difficult to do as an artist, to kind of transcend those genres or the ideas that people have of you, right? But she's always been like, look, I am more than just this genre, right? Like I have a reason why I do all these things. And you know what? Sometimes she doesn't care if it's popular at the time. Like one of her albums, art pop, was like not super popular back then, right? Because the sound was like probably a bit out there, right? This hyper pop kind of like futuristic pop thing. That stuff is all the rage now, right? I mean, like Charlie XCX and them are like very popular. So like, and so I feel like she's mainstream. Yes, she's like done very, very well, right? But she's never been like chasing, like, obviously beyond like maybe her first album where, the label makes you, be a certain kind of person and wear meat dresses. But after she got her initial, like, okay, now I can like kind of carve my own path place. I just love following her artistry, right? And I think in a way I probably see a lot of the way that I think about the world through her lens as well.
Absolutely, yeah. It's this transcendental, like transcending perception is what I wrote, right? Like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, transcending perception.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
And it's like appreciation for a lot of different things, right?
Mhm.
And her whole messaging, her entire career has been like, she calls her fans her little monsters, right? But it's like this idea that like you can, even if the world thinks you're a monster or like ugly or whatever, like you should just be you, your whole messy self. And she is chaotic and messy. And she's like, I saw her live like this year, and like it is out there, her production, but like I love that it's out there. And like I think like I'm also kind of a wacky person too. And like you know, it's you just like, it's fun to see an artist kind of push the boundaries, right? Like I think of her in contrast a lot to like an artist like Katy Perry, who's like, you know, I think a product of the industry, right? Where it's like, I don't really know who she is beyond just like, okay, she sings hit songs, but like,
That's a good point. Yeah.
what is her message to the world? Whereas like with Gaga, like she can do like 12 different genres, but like her message and what she stands for is always so clear to me, no matter what genre she is performing in.
Hell yeah. No, it's yeah. That contrast is also really cool because you're right. Like if you're like thinking about just hanging out with both of them, you feel like you would hang out with the real Lady Gaga,
Oh,
whereas
absolutely.
an hour later hanging out with Katy Perry was like, who do I hang out with?
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
mean, for sure. I would
Based on
love
just the perception. Yeah, I get it.
perception, right? Like,
Yeah.
obviously, I don't know Lady
Yeah,
Gaga
we don't know
personally,
who they
but I'm
are.
like,
Yeah.
she sounds like she could be pretty fun, actually. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
I've heard stories that she is super fun. Like so,
yeah,
but
right?
I get what you're saying just from the public perception and
Yeah,
like the fame and all of that. So all right. Have you seen the old Spartacus movie?
Spartacus. It's like Spartacus.
Spartacus, yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I do know the reference of like,
Okay, yeah. So
yeah,
there's the scene where it's like, they get captured. Spartacus
and
was,
I am
as you
Spartacus.
know, what?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. When everyone's like, I'm Spartacus.
Yeah, the I
Sorry.
am Spartacus scene. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So what is that for you? Like, what is this vision or icon that you hold so dear that people are willing to say, I am Sherry, right? Like give their life, sacrifice their life, maybe not literally, um, but dedicate their life for is kind of the same meaning. So what?
Like who's my icon or like
Who are
what?
you? No, who is
Oh,
Sherry that there is gonna be a legion of Sherrys, right? That
oh,
are willing to take, sacrifice their
oh
life for
man.
you. Like what is that thing you stand for that
Yeah.
is, people are willing to share in the toil.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that goes back to I think it probably goes back to this, right?
Hmm.
This piece.
Hmm.
Uh my team for my startup, some of them have been through all three pivots or
Hmm.
4 pivots. Um and I think it actually really like warms my heart. I think every time it's happened, I expect a lot of them to be like, hey, maybe this is not for me, or like,
Hmm.
okay, like this founder keeps changing her mind. She must be like mad,
Hmm.
lost her marbles, right? But each time, like, they're just like, no, like, we're in this together. Like, we've got you. I've got you. Like, let's solve this together, right? And I think it comes from a place of like, I just want to do cool, interesting shit for the world and like innovate and not be afraid of it. But the outcome is trying to create a good impact, right?
Hmm.
That like arrows, right? Like we
Hmm.
try to spread the magic of these things like AI and tech
Hmm.
and bring it to more people.
Spread the magic of tech. I like it.
Yeah. And I think that resonates a lot with the people who've been with the company, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, it's like, yeah, I feel like they've all stood behind me in times where I, you know, didn't always expect it because I was afraid that like, you know, like putting your company through pivots is really hard. Like it really is to be like, hey, you worked so hard on these designs and this build, and we're just gonna trash it. Like it's a hard feeling, you know?
But it's a good testament to that one value. I think because you drew that, right? The brain with the arrows. I think that's enough kind of to just encapsulate that brain, right? Which is spreading the magic of tech throughout the world or everywhere.
Yeah.
Uh, and how would you just like if there was like a bad signal, right? Batman.
Yeah.
You should the bad signal when there's crime out, right? What is the bad signal for your brain? Like what's happening for you to show up and like be part of
Yeah.
the conversation?
Oh man. I mean, it's like when, you know, I think as it relates to peak, it's when I talk to somebody who's like, I just like 24 years old and they're like, I just got laid off from my second job and I'm really not sure how I can set myself up for success for even a fraction of the things my parents were able to get during their age. I think when I hear that kind of story, it's like, oh wow, like this is a real problem to solve. Yeah.
And as your brand, not Peak, just
Yeah.
Sherry's brand.
Sherry's brand.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably when I like I see yeah, I think it's when I see someone who has a current challenge in their life, right? I mean, whether it's like, okay, like I'm not sure if the skills of my job
Mm,
are going to be relevant in 5 years because of AI or like
mm,
whatever, right? Um, if if I can do something to help them overcome a limiting self-belief about themselves that prevents them from like pursuing something that can solve that problem. I'm going to use a maybe a exact example so it
mm,
doesn't feel so abstract, but um I guess in the context of the code with AI stuff,
mm,
not the peak stuff, but
mm,
um it's where somebody is worried whether or not their skills are still relevant as a middle manager has been somewhere for a really long time. Their limiting self-belief is I'm not technical and I can't learn this stuff. And when I come in to be like, it's going to be shit the first time you try, but you can do
mm,
this.
mhm,
And they do it and they're just like in complete disbelief over
mhm,
what they're able to accomplish. And that happens a lot. So my bad signal is when I see someone like self-doubt,
mm,
when I'm like, I know you can do it. And you gotta fight through the self-doubt and you're gonna
mhm.
fight through like I suck. And then Eve will eventually get it.
I love it. Okay, I think I'm gonna ask you the last question.
Sure.
We're skipping a couple, but I think you're ready for it. All right.
Okay, okay.
Imagine your life at peak impact again. Draw your impact at that moment.
Okay. I just added more color to the existing chart.
Okay.
Um, it's
What is the more
basically
color? Yeah.
the my arrow. So I'm the original black arrow,
Mhm,
but because I am the black arrow, and maybe it's through, I don't know, my users or like people
mhm,
around me, they also feel the permission to want to go out and do this kind of stuff. And therefore, the world is able to see, like, I don't like it kind of goes back to the point of like, maybe it goes beyond just my own impact, but like
mhm,
maybe my own impact can inspire other people to also do these things, take wacky bets, build the types of
mhm,
companies or create the kind of impacts that are orthogonal in nature.
mhm,
And then when they do it, then other people see them, and then it fractalizes. So now you have all this. It's like a snowball of those arrows. And I put
mhm,
different colors because not everyone should be Sherry, right? It's
mhm,
like people should do it their own way, right? I'm my kind of person, but maybe you know all these other people who are different than me trying to create impact all together, it's so much better, right? Because we can cover more bases. So um it's just creating like a multiplier, right? From
mhm.
the things that I do that can create an impact beyond just my own companies.
Hell yeah. That's it.